If you've ever walked down the paint aisle in the hardware store, it can be quite overwhelming. Not only do you have to figure out what product to choose, but also what sheen should you get and what goes where. My name is Jeremy Vassar and I'm a professional painter, and I'm here to shed some much needed light on this topic. In this video, I'm going to explain why paint sheens matter, which sheens go where, and then I'm going to go over my specific product recommendations for each room in your house. So we're just going to go straight over to my handy dandy sheen chart. And the terms in yellow are all sheens. They are all also finishes. Those terms are used interchangeably. These terms denote how shiny a particular paint is. And I've gone with the most common sheens that I see in most interior paints from the majority of manufacturers. There are some other ones that you may see, but this covers the majority of them. If you're looking at this chart, as you can see, the shinier a product is, the more durable it is, which has led some folks in the comments to ask me, well, why don't I just put gloss paint on every surface in my room? If you put high gloss paint all over your walls, you're gonna see every single imperfection in them. The light bounce between all of that is gonna look bananas. I'm not saying it's gonna cause a seizure because I'm sure someone has done it really well and it looks dope. I've just never seen it personally. Really what it's about is finding the correct sheen for the surface and making sure that surface has the level of durability required in your home. All right, so I'm just gonna do a speed run through this chart and talk about which sheens typically go on which surfaces in your house, and then I'll get to my specific room by room recommendations. So starting at the bottom, you've got flat, which has no shine to it, and also is the least durable of all of these sheens. So typically flat gets used on ceilings, family rooms, bedrooms, all that good stuff. I'd say like 98% of the ceilings in your home have flat paint on them. It's a really soft looking finish, and in general, the durability is not a factor because you're not touching your ceilings, you're not walking on them, and they don't get like scuffed up all that much, so the durability is really not a factor. Also, the flat finish is considered a soft finish. It really absorbs light, doesn't reflect a lot, and it's what most people prefer on their ceilings. Moving up the chart a little bit, you've got matte and eggshell. Those two sheens kind of vie for the most popular as far as the finishes that are preferred on walls. Gives you much more protection than you would in a flat paint. Also, modern wall paints, even in matte and eggshell, tend to be formulated so that they withstand a lot of wiping and scuffing and things like that. It's been a thing that the industry has really been pushing for recently. So again, matte and eggshell, most commonly used on walls. A little bit further up the chart, you've got satin, semi-gloss, and gloss, and those are the most common sheens that are used on trim. Satin's gotten a little bit more popular over the years, particularly in some of the hybrid products, but also semi-gloss is the most common trim paint that we use pretty much everywhere. And trim would be your doors, your woodwork, baseboard, all of that good stuff, because in general, those surfaces, particularly like doors and door frames and baseboards, they get touched and bumped into a lot. So you really want those to be fairly durable, which is why most people go with semi-gloss. So now I'm gonna go room by room and explain what products I use and why in the majority of the interior painting that we do. I'm only gonna be mentioning the products that I use from Sherwin-Williams because I don't want this video to be like 30 minutes long going through every single thing that I recommend from all of the manufacturers. However, if you would like our complete list of our product recommendations from Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, Lowe's, and Home Depot, then consider joining our free online community, and we have all of that in there for you. The link is in the description if you are interested, and perhaps I will see you in there. Onward to my first and most common loadout. So this is for the majority of the rooms in a typical residential house. This would be your kitchen, bedrooms, family rooms, dining rooms, hallways, offices, laundry rooms, and powder room. For the ceiling, we use Promar ceiling paint, which is a dead flat ceiling paint from Sherwin-Williams. On the walls, we use Emerald Matte. It's a really high quality wall paint, and that sheen looks amazing. And for trim and doors, we use Emerald Urethane Trim Enamel and Semi-Gloss. And that's pretty much what we use on all the trim that we do. Now we have a little bit of a special case, which is inside of bathrooms that have a shower or a tub, anything that generates a lot of steam and moisture. And what happens when you take a hot shower is that steam rises, it hits the ceiling, it gets on the walls, and all of that good stuff. If you don't use the proper paint that's got mildew and moisture resistance built into it, the paint will break down over time. You'll get mold and all kinds of things. So what we like using on the ceiling is Emerald Matte, as well as the walls. We use Emerald Matte there as well. And that product has moisture and mildew resistance built into it. It performs really well. If you are a little bit more worried about moisture in your bathroom, you can bump up to satin in Emerald. And that does really well. If you don't have a good exhaust fan and things like that, you're a little bit more concerned there. I would bump up to the satin on the ceiling and the walls. Just a quick caveat. In the line of emerald paint, there's no eggshell. It just jumps from matte to satin, but the satin is closer to an eggshell. than most other products. So I know it's weird, but that's just how Sherwin-Williams does it with some of their products. And then for trim and doors in a bathroom, we still use emerald urethane trim enamel and semi-gloss. It is super durable, and that product rips. Now, the last case that I'll talk about is large open spaces like big foyers and great rooms, things that are like 2 stories tall, have a bunch of light coming in, a lot of windows, things like that. What you find in those areas is that at certain times of the day when the light, like the sun is really coming through the windows, if you've ever seen a big wall and then the light hits it a certain way, you can see like the lap marks, like the roller marks in the wall, like all the imperfections are highlighted, particularly if you use a higher sheen like an eggshell. So most of the time in those big foyers, we'll use emerald matte. However, if the client doesn't have children or they're older or they're out of the house or whatever, and it's a low traffic area, it's more of like a showpiece, then we'll go with emerald flat, which is an excellent choice. A high quality wall paint in flat is going to have more sheen in it than Promar ceiling paint or like a dead flat ceiling paint. That finish looks way better under harsh lighting conditions, and you won't see every little problem in the wall. So that's just something to consider if you have an area in your home that is a low traffic area. You're not worried about people bumping into it or kids drawing on the walls or things like that. Emerald flat is an awesome choice. It looks amazing, particularly in darker colors for like accent walls and stuff. And then in the ceiling in those areas, we still use Promar ceiling paint, which is a dead flat, and again, trim is still the venerable emerald urethane trim enamel and semi-gloss. So now that you know what paints go where, the next step is to learn how to cut straight lines when you go to start painting. You can check out this video right over here where I show you how to do just that. Until next time, y'all take it easy, work smart, have a good one. Peace.